Welcome to the high-stakes, hyper-analytical world of the elite marriage market, where every year is a ticking clock and every asset is scrutinized under a microscopic lens. Today, we are dissecting a case that serves as a haunting warning. For those who confuse temporary attention with permanent value, imagine a woman born in 1992. She is currently 35, and in the brutal, unforgiving landscape of the matchmaking industry in the capital city, she is standing at the precipice of what many agents call total liquidation. She has entered the market with a profile that reads like a balance sheet from a company that had a massive IPO 10 years ago, but has since failed to innovate. Her physical specifications are documented with precision: 158 centimeters tall, weighing exactly 47 kilograms. She markets herself with a clinical focus on her proportions, specifically highlighting her wide pelvis. A transparent, almost primal attempt to signal reproductive health and aesthetic appeal. To compensate for her short stature. Professionally, she is the definition of stability. She holds a clerical position at one of the nation's massive family-owned conglomerates, and graduated from a lower-tier university within the capital city. She has managed to save 250 million won, which is roughly $185,000 in liquid assets. She presents this sum as a badge of honor, a sign of her frugality and lack of vanity, believing it makes her a high-stability partner. But the core provocation, the real reason her ego has inflated to a terminal degree, lies in her history as a dating application model. In her 20s, she wasn't just another user, she was the face of the platform, a visual lure used to attract high-net-worth men. Her past portfolio is a gallery of the elite: doctors, commercial pilots, and high-level corporate executives. For 10 years, she was surrounded by the top 1% of the male population. She spent her peak years enjoying the spoils of this attention, claiming she wasn't thinking about marriage while she basked in the validation of men who are now functionally out of her reach. What she failed to realize is that she was being treated as a short-term luxury rental. These men were consuming her youth and beauty with no intention of a permanent acquisition. Now, at 35, she has walked into a professional matchmaking agency, expecting to maintain that same caliber of suitors. She demands a man over 176 centimeters with a fit body, a likable face, a stable family background, and an age range between 33 and 39. She is looking for a unicorn, a man who represents the top 0.1% of the population, failing to see that she is no longer the rare commodity she once was. This is the beginning of a market correction that she is completely unprepared for. As she tries to trade a depreciating asset for a blue-chip dividend stock, she is haunted by the ghost of her past value, unaware that the market has already moved on. The expiration date panic has officially begun, and the numbers are not in her favor. This is the reality of the lagging indicator fallacy in action. This psychological gridlock is driven by a phenomenon known as loss aversion, intertwined with a deep-seated main character syndrome. After a decade of being the beautiful woman on the arm of 187-centimeter doctors, the mere suggestion of matching with a 172-centimeter manager at a mid-size firm feels like a visceral trauma. In her mind, a fair market match is interpreted as a catastrophic loss of status. When she uses the phrase personality differences to explain her recent breakups, she is using a linguistic shield. In the brutal reality of the dating market, this is code for the fact that a professional man realized her biological clock was ticking and decided she wasn't worth the long-term investment. She is currently experiencing a severe withdrawal from the validation hit she received in her 20s, watching as her 100% response rate from the past transforms into cold scene receipts and ghosting. She triggers her own defensive mechanisms by clinging to her former status as a digital face of the dating world, a title that is essentially a participation trophy in today's landscape. Behind the velvet curtains of the elite matchmaking agencies, she is no longer a person, she is a data sheet. Her age of 35 puts her at a grade C- or D. Most high-tier men set their search filters to under 31 or 33, meaning she is automatically hidden from 80% of her target audience. Her height of 158 centimeters requires her to be exceptionally beautiful, just to compete with a standard-looking woman of 165 centimeters. While her career gives her a grade B, it creates a salary floor that makes her reject any man earning less than her, further shrinking her pool. Even her assets of 250 million won are not game-changing. The algorithm is designed to pair her with 40 to 42-year-old divorced men, or 38-year-old men with significant social defects. She is paying $4,000 for a membership just to discover that her target portfolio doesn't even know she exists. This is the technical reality of the tier-based filtering system that governs the modern marriage market. This mismatch reflects the hyper-competitive collapse of the local dating scene. Professional men have become ultra-rational, crunching the numbers on new marriage acts and divorce laws regarding property division. They no longer settle for looks alone, when those looks come with a 35-year-old expiration date. These elite men have decoupled from the traditional market, often choosing recreational dating over strategic alliances. A practicing dentist recently stated that a woman born in 1992 is in a state of extreme urgency and should be grateful for an equal. To these men, she has transitioned into a toxic asset. The app model title she prizes is actually a red flag, it suggests. She was too focused on external validation, while they prefer someone who was busy building a real life. She is fighting an algorithm that has already declared her the loser, yet she continues to demand a unicorn that has long since left the forest. This regional reality creates what experts call the Korean anomaly. In major Western cities, a 35-year-old woman with a professional career and $180,000 in savings is often seen as a power couple candidate. She has stability and maturity, but in the local market, she is viewed through the lens of the Great Replacement. Data shows these women possess the highest standards-to-value ratio globally. While Western men might travel abroad seeking traditional values, local professional men are simply exiting the market or down-filtering to much younger cohorts. A refusal to date men in their 40s is a regional delusion. Globally, a 35-year-old woman pairing with a 42-year-old successful man is the standard operating procedure. Insisting on a 4-year age gap is a provincial error leading to terminal singularity. To visualize this, imagine a 2010 luxury sedan. On the outside, it is polished to a mirror finish with model stickers on the glass. The owner spent a fortune on detailing those proportions, but the odometer reads 300,000 kilometers. When a rational buyer opens the hood, he sees a blown engine. This is the biological clock. The owner asks for 2026 factory new prices because a pilot once drove it, but no buyer pays new car prices for scrap metal with a premium paint job. She is selling a lifestyle accessory to a man looking for a reliable family vehicle for parenthood. If she fails to market correct now, the liquidation scenario begins. At 36, she rejects average men waiting for a 183-centimeter architect. By 37, her looks face the gravitational collapse of middle age, and maintenance costs for procedures skyrocket. By 38, she meets a 43-year-old divorced manager, finds him old, and retreats to memories of her 2018 Dr. X. By 40, she hits total insolvency. 250 million won cannot buy a house or a future. She becomes the aunt who was once pretty, living in a studio apartment, with a designer bag and a pension that barely covers her skincare. She isn't waiting for love, she is waiting for the end. Observe the comedy of the scramble from our vantage point in the VIP lounge, where this 35-year-old woman performs a circus of entitlement. Her technical absurdity reaches a peak when she demands a man between 174 and 176 centimeters to protect her future child's height. At 158 centimeters, she is the actual genetic bottleneck, yet she demands a height-enhancing donor as if she isn't the primary constraint. This desperation, masked as selective standards, relies on the ghost of an 187-centimeter ex-boyfriend. She acts like someone who once sat in first class and now refuses to believe she is standing on a crowded bus. But that bus is leaving, and the premium seats are already filled by 24-year-olds who don't bring personality differences to the table. Her past relationships with professionals are not credentials, they are psychological debts. Those men provided a lifestyle subsidy she didn't earn, and now she views that high-status validation as her base salary. Her internal accounting remains pegged to a pilot's credit card, making a standard life feel like a downgrade. Earning 80 million won, she has entered the middle-income trap of dating. She is too expensive for the regular Joe and too old for the elite CEO who seeks youthful utility. She is a case study in market failure, a defective inventory masquerading as vintage luxury. Her refusal to acknowledge the 40-year-old reality is a delusional hedge against an inevitable crash. She is the systemic collapse of a generation that mistook pretty for a permanent asset and marriage for an optional upgrade. Fuel the truth at dating in Korea. Support the structure. Stay safe in the lounge.